All right. So, hey, we're talking about motivation and learning. That's like, I didn't plan it, but it just so happened to be like in the middle of the semester, this topic. So, hey, that's awesome. Plus, it's COVID, so we all need the motivation, right? And so, yeah, hopefully it's gonna be super short. I tried to time it, guys. So I'm shooting an hour or a little bit over an hour. I don't know. It's up to you guys too. So all right. So let's get started.
For class?
Everybody. Yep. Did somebody speak?
Wow.
Oh, Brianna, you're just testing your thing. Okay. All right. So 8. Okay. Are we missing somebody here? No, we're all here. Okay. Just making sure. Betsy with all caps is here. All right. All right. So, Paul, you know me, I got to get started with something. This is related to it. So, none of this random stuff. It's a 30-second poll, guys. So, on a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 as very, very competitive and 1 as not at all competitive, how competitive are you? I kind of know what people are going to say. Okay, C, super, super competitive or very, very competitive. That would be Marty, of course. Gabby, yes. Lanny, yes. Betsy, yes. Brianna, yes. Oh no, Abigail, sorry. Abby. Oh, something. And Lupe. Hold on, I gotta go mute myself. I get so excited and I get have to cough. Okay. Those are very, very competitive. B, medium. That would be Eunice. And not at all competitive, Brianna.
Okay.
I think you are.
I answered it wrong.
Oh.
I thought it said 1 was very competitive.
Okay, so you're basically over there. Okay. I kind of knew that. And Eunice, I could see a competitive side of you, like way over the spectrum. I know you. You're a closet competitor. Closet competitor. You know how I'm a closet eater? You're a closet competitor. I'm kidding. Anyways, we all have our, as you can see, we'll have different students who have different competitive edges. You'll have some students who are like, you know, Miss Sedano, I don't know why I got an A minus here. It's got to be A plus, right? And then you'll have some students like, I got a C. I'm okay. I got a D. I'm okay. So just kind of let you know that's where it goes. And how do we motivate those students in the other spectrum, right? All right. So motivation and learning. These are the sources that I used and YouTube videos. So we're going to learn about theories and motivation. There are tons of theories on motivation. I'm only covering like just a tip of the iceberg. Okay, so I got a nice cute bullseye here. This is part of the final exam. We are all judgmental individuals. We naturally judge other people based on what they do or what they're all about. Judging is how we decode people's behavior. Our brain automatically classifies this information. So the attribution theory explains how how we interpret other people's results based on what we know about them. Okay? So I kind of knew some of you would say, like, you're super competitive just based on what I know about you. So that's attribution. I put all devices. Okay, this is 2 minutes, 24 seconds. Oops.
Have you ever wondered why someone acts in the way that they do? Are you curious to know the reasoning behind another's behavior or even your own? Chances are you are implementing the attribution theory into your thought process without even knowing it. According to simple psychology, the attribution theory deals with how the social perceiver uses information to arrive at causal explanations for events. Let's take a look at how the attribution theory came to be. It was created by psychologist Fritz Heider. Born in 1896 in Vienna, Austria, Heider proved to be extremely intelligent from a very young age through his interest in philosophy and psychology. He received a PhD from the University of Graz at age 24. He is particularly well known for the work that he contributed to attribution, balance, and cognitive consistency. Heider believed that cause and effect relationships are oftentimes seen by people in any and all situations, even when there are none to be seen. Attribution, one of Heider's most well-known studied topics, is defined as an ascribed quality, character, or right. When it comes to the attribution theory, it can more simply be defined as one that is concerned with the why and the how as to why ordinary people do what they do. There are two main ideas that became influential in Heider creating the attribution theory. These include that of internal attribution and external attribution. Internal attribution is defined by simple psychology as the process of assigning the cause of behavior to some internal characteristic rather than to outside forces. Oftentimes, when attempting to describe the behavior of other people, we look for internal attributions that will be the reasoning to their behavior, such as personality traits. We attribute an individual's behavior to their beliefs or overall personality. External attribution is defined by simple psychology as the process of assigning the cause of behavior to some situation or events outside a person's control, rather than to some internal characteristic. If we are not looking at someone's internal beliefs or personality to attribute to their behavior, we tend to make external attributions to explain why they are doing or acting in the way that they are, such as situational or environmental factors. I want to thank Fritz Heider for taking the important concept of attribution and creating the attribution theory for us to study and apply to our daily lives.
All right, that is actually my voice after I inhale the balloon. Just kidding. Okay. Oh, good. I just love it. I know I have a high voice, so I shouldn't even say that. All right, so attribution theory. There's two kinds, dispositional and situational. And that'll come out clear as we watch little snippets of videos. So dispositional, their behaviors are attributed to internal causes that individuals cannot control, such as personality, attitude, mood, motives, and abilities. So let's go take a look at dispositional. Oops.
Let's say you meet a new classmate and you agree to meet at a local coffee shop to study. You've met this person at the coffee shop 3 different occasions, and on each occasion the person's late. After the 3rd time the person comes late, you think to yourself that this person is just lazy. Or maybe they're selfish because whatever they're doing must be so much more important than meeting you on time. This is an example of dispositional attribution, because you're explaining the person's behavior from an internal cause, that is, that they're lazy. So dispositional attributions are when we explain other people's behavior as being due to something from within the individual, such as a person's personality, talent, attitude, or motivation.
Okay, so hopefully that sums that up, dispositional. And now we're gonna look at situational. These are behaviors attributed to external causes that individuals cannot control, such as the situations that they're in, social or environmental reasons. And let's continue that video.
So let's take this example again of a person being repeatedly late to a study session. Perhaps you think the reason why the person is late is because they've gotten caught up at something at work and couldn't leave on time. Or perhaps because there was traffic or the person was home helping their sick mother. If you were to use one of these reasons for explaining the individual's tardiness, then you would be using situational attribution. A situational attribution is when we think that something outside of a person, such as the nature of a situation or circumstance, is the cause of the behavior.
All right, so that is situational. So both dispositional and situational factors can be conditions to particular self-knowledge for success and failure. So what we say and how we provide feedback to our students can affect their degree of motivation.
When teachers communicate to students that failures are due to the use of inappropriate strategies or inappropriate effort, students are likely to be motivated to try harder or to use more appropriate strategies in the future. For example, when a teacher says, "Well, you didn't quite pass, but your hard work is evident, and if you try to study once a day, your grade will improve." In response, the student might think, "I will study for an hour a day until the next test and see if I get a better grade." Thus, the teacher's attributions are deemed controllable and unstable, and the student is motivated and engaged. Alternatively, if a teacher communicates attributes of students' success on factors that are uncontrollable, such as luck, or stable, the situation won't change over time no matter the effort put in by the student will likely be unmotivated to make any changes to the situation. A teacher will typically draw conclusions regarding a student's strengths or weaknesses early in the school year. These early conclusions and opinions may be accurate perceptions, leading the teacher to provide tailored instruction and guidance for the student. Sometimes, however, these perceptions are inaccurate, leading to an underestimation of student abilities and skills. Research indicates teachers may underestimate the abilities of students who have different physical appearances than most students, frequently misbehave in class, cannot sit still, speak in dialects other than standard English, or come from low-income backgrounds. Further, research indicates that when teachers have high expectations and attributions for students, they create an open classroom that provides frequent opportunities for student-teacher interaction, more feedback on assignments, and the presentation of more challenging course material. Children are aware of and influenced by their teachers' attributions and therefore begin to question their actual abilities and knowledge. In instances of primarily negative teacher attributions, students may begin to behave in ways they think the teacher views them. This is referred to as a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, we all had those teachers, right? We all had those teachers who sort of super underestimated what you can do. And so you say, I'll show them. Okay. Oh, what's wrong? Okay. All right. So I'm doing time to climb in increments because we have so many theories. Okay. So with so many theories, I don't want to just overwhelm you with 20 questions in time to climb because that'll take forever. So I did it in little chunks. So, all right. So we did Halloween, we did space, underwater or Himalayans?
Underwater.
Underwater. All right. Okay, there. I couldn't see it at first. All right. All right. I only put 5 questions and I only put 30 seconds. So hopefully, yeah. And there should be 7 connected. See 2 more. Oh no, 1 more. There. You guys are all in it. All right, let's get going. Danielle number 4, and Marty number 5. All right, that was attribution theory. Yay! All right. Let us get going. Now we go to self-efficacy theory. According to Bandura, 1977, self-efficacy theory is a person's perception of his or her capabilities to learn or to perform specific actions at designated levels. All right, somebody's in a waiting room. Oh, Eunice. Oh, Eunice, I'm sorry you got kicked out. All right. Welcome back, Eunice.
Sorry, my laptop died.
That's okay, that's okay. So yeah, we're going self-efficacy theory. And it's basically a person's perception of his or her capabilities to learn or to perform specific actions at designated levels. So we all have our own perceptions of what we can do, but we also can push ourselves, so we know. All right, back to video, start activity. Pause the video, wherever. Get back to video. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. It's like a disco, but I'm gonna try it.
I grew up in a family of educators. I spent so much of my childhood in my mother's kindergarten classroom, and I wanted to be a teacher just like her. I've been an educator for over 20 years, and after several years in the classroom, I set my sights on wanting to be a coach. I envisioned myself leading professional development trainings and supporting teachers in the classroom, and I believed that I could be really good at that. So I applied for a promotion. Unfortunately, my supervisor at the time did not share that same vision. And I watched my application get thrown into the trash can. And I was told that I would never be a coach. I just didn't have what it took. And I walked out of that office that day, devastated, yet agreeing, and saying, "You're right. I don't know how to be a coach. What was I thinking?" It's surprising how easily our confidence can be broken, isn't it? How truly fragile it is. But you know what? After some time, those words held less and less power over me as I started to remember instead my mother telling me for years that I had a unique ability to connect with learners. And I remembered all my parents who went out of their way to tell me what a difference I was making in the lives of their children. And I decided that maybe I don't know how to be a coach yet, but I do know how to teach, and I can transfer those skills. And that's when I realized I had the resiliency to pick myself up and persevere toward my goal because I genuinely believed I could do it. I knew I could be a successful coach. So with that, I applied for a different job, and the rest is history. I have been an educator coach for 5.5 years, and I am so privileged to even coach other coaches of teachers around the nation and even some internationally. So how about you? I bet you could all think of that moment in your lives when your belief in your ability to do something outweighed what anyone else told you you could or could not do. That's because our genuine belief in our abilities plays a key role in how we approach certain goals, tasks, and challenges. This essential belief in our ability to succeed in specific endeavors is called self-efficacy. People with low levels of self-efficacy for a certain task tend to avoid doing it all together. Oh, no, no, no. Or if they do try, they usually give up fairly quickly because they do not believe that they will ultimately be successful. Whereas higher levels of self-efficacy influences our motivation to give it a try and take that action, and even to persevere when challenges are encountered.
All right, I was breaking apart this video so they're not so long, but I'm trying to like align them with what I'm trying to say. So we'll continue watching her a little bit again later, but she kind of introduced self-efficacy. And I think everybody in this class have high levels of self-efficacy. So, which is good. Now we're gonna have to reflect that to our students in the future. So self-efficacy affects the students' choices of activities, the amount of effort they put into learning activity, the students' persistence, interest, and achievement. And okay, the sources of self-efficacy, and this woman is gonna talk to us more about that. She'll have a different terms, names for these sources, but it's pretty much the same. Actual performances, vicarious experiences, social persuasion, and physiological indexes. And she'll explain that a little bit more with different terms, but I think you'll get the gist of it. All right.
The first and foremost source is experiencing success. We all know that success builds upon success, and nothing creates more self-efficacy than having a direct experience of mastery with that task. Swim instructors know this to be true. When my daughters first learned how to swim, their instructors supported them in feeling successful as they mastered each small step towards swimming independently. I do the same with my teachers when I'm trying to help them learn a new instructional strategy or teaching behavior. I break it down into small, achievable steps. And I even individualize the beginning point. I match the strategy with the teacher's current skills, and we start there, so that the teachers can feel that immediate sense of success with this new strategy, and also have that feeling of, I'm already doing this a little. And we build the skill from there. In this way, teachers have a positive experience in implementing the new strategy, and also with the change process itself.
So she named it that experience. We're naming it actual performance. So actual performance is a student's previous performance can influence his or her self-efficacy. Meaning if I have an A in that exam, I have this motivation that I'm gonna get an A again next time I take that test. And so we all have our, we all know what we're good at, and we all can push ourselves to do better. But actual performance is basically the experience that you already have. Now she's going to go over the second one, which I call vicarious experience. Same thing. And she calls it see others succeed.
Seeing others like ourselves succeed. When I first ran a 5K, I didn't know if I would ever make it to the finish line. But I was inspired to keep going by those around me, many of whom were also still clearly struggling. I wasn't the only one. But they kept putting one foot in front of the other, and I decided if they could do it, I could do it too. This source is most pronounced when I support group coaching. When teachers are able to see other teachers like themselves trying something new in their classroom, and they're able to hear about the positive response they're getting from their students, they are much more likely and willing to try something similar themselves in their own classrooms. Having a support group in a community like this helps teachers believe that their success is also possible.
So yes, that's vicarious experience, meaning if she can do it, I can certainly do it. You know, we have that thing inside us, like if they can do it, I can do it. So yeah, that's the second one. So yeah, the second source, vicarious experiences, the knowledge of how others succeed can influence a student's self-efficacy. In other words, observing similar others succeed can raise the observer's self-efficacy. She did it, so I can do it too. The third one is social persuasion, and she calls it another thing.
The third source of encouragement is receiving specific encouragement. Now, how many of us have our efforts affirmed on a daily basis? Up there? No? No one? Right. We don't even do that for ourselves. Good job, by the way. Thanks. Okay. Our society treats encouragement and affirmation as if it's a very expensive commodity. And you just can't afford to do it too often. But that's absolutely false. It's free. And it is such a powerful motivator that it doesn't even make sense not to tap into it regularly. I believe in this so much that I encourage my coaches that whenever they go into a teacher's classroom to leave a little sticky note saying something they saw or heard the teacher do that had a positive impact on the students. I wasn't sure exactly what effect this had on the teachers until several of my coaches told me how their teachers excitedly showed them where in the classroom they kept all of those inspiring notes. You see, when we're trying something new and making change in the middle of that change process, knowing that our decisions, our efforts, our choices are being seen and heard and appreciated helps us to focus more on the progress that we are making toward that goal than on the challenges that we are currently facing, because there's always challenges.
Okay, so what she means is social persuasion. Students achieve self-efficacy when credible people persuade them that success is attainable. I'm sure everybody experienced that. Oh, you could do it. You could do it. Oh, you could totally run for this, or you could totally join this. And you get that encouragement. So when you do that to your students, guess what? It really makes a big difference. And it's so simple to do it. Okay, so that's her third one. The fourth one is physiological index, but she has another term for it.
The fourth source of efficacy is managing negative emotions. When my oldest daughter was 8 years old, she was getting ready to take her first high-stakes standardized test. As you can imagine, her anxiety was through the roof. And she was sure that those feelings meant she was destined to fail. I helped her realize that it's totally natural and normal to feel the way she was feeling, but that when we let our emotions get this big, our brains get small, and it becomes really difficult to think. And she needed to find a way to manage her emotions so she could keep her brain big, because she was going to need it. We practiced many strategies, and I'm pleased to say that she did really well on that test. But much more importantly, she learned a really valuable lesson, that she has the power to manage her emotions and calm them. We all do. When I work with teachers to create an action plan for them to go into their classroom and independently practice these new strategies we're working on and teaching behaviors, we always talk about what could go wrong and then help them to develop some ways to overcome those barriers so that they can keep practicing on their own. We also talk about those stressful feelings that they're likely to feel when they're doing new things in front of their students in their classrooms. In this way, I help set my teachers up for success so that they can keep practicing, because we're trying to build habits, and I need them to be able to do that on their own when I'm not there.
All right, so in our textbook, it's called Physiological Index. So it's an emotional state such as anxiety and stress provide cues about anticipated success or failure. Like this kid, stage fright, having negative thoughts and fears and all kinds of stuff. I know when I'm super nervous and I'm in front of people, I know my legs shake. It's just one of those things. So I always wear pants. That way nobody knows how nervous I am when I'm speaking in front. Because I made a mistake of wearing a dress before. Oh my gosh, everybody. I felt like everybody could see my legs shaking. So it's knowing your physiological index and knowing that, hey, this is just emotion. I can conquer this. Knowing that, and we can definitely help our students do that. Okay, I believe this is her grand finale. Hold on.
So how do all 4 of these steps work together to develop self-efficacy? Years ago, when I was vacationing in Thailand, I somehow let my Floridian, ocean-loving husband talk me into going on a beginner scuba diving adventure. Now, you need to know, I'm from New Mexico. I was born and raised in the desert. And so the idea of going on this and drowning or being attacked by a sea creature was very real, and it scared me to death. But I overcame my fears that day because several very important things happened. First, my amazingly patient instructor, was totally Zen-like, broke down the terrifying process of all the mandatory safety procedures I had to go through into small little chunks so I could focus on that chunk and feel comfortable and successful, and then we went to the next one. Also, I was able to see other newbies like myself succeeding and not dying. And I know many of them were just as nervous as I was because we talked about it on the boat ride over. And here they were being brave and literally taking the plunge. And they inspired me to want to be brave too. My husband constantly encouraged me and told me that I could do this. And somehow he kept me from panicking. No small task, because that panic attack was this close. Okay? And all of these things worked together that day to help me to do that, the unimaginable, to breathe underwater and survive. So I ask you, what is that thing that you've been wanting to try and you haven't yet? What is that change that you've been waiting to make in your life? What is it going to take for you to believe in your ability to successfully do that. So you can lean in, make that change start to happen, and make a positive change in your life. Visionary innovator Henry Ford summed it up perfectly when he said, whether you believe you can or you believe you cannot, you are right. You're right. So I encourage you today to be kind to yourself and build your self-efficacy so you can prove to yourself that you can. Thank you.
So who wants to go sky jumping with me? Oh, Gabby. Oh, Betsy. Woo. All right. If she can do it, I can do it. Okay. All right. So this is self-efficacy. We did underwater. You want to do Himalayan? Abby said yes. All right. And Brianna. All right. I'm waiting for 8 players to show up. Gabby's here, Marty's here, Brianna, Abby, Lanny's here, Betsy, Eunice. One more. Lupe, are you here? Okay. Lupe. All right, you gotta be present, Lupe. All right, time to climb. All right, I'm gonna get started. Again, 5 questions, 30 seconds each. Let's see if we remember. Super competitive. Number 2, Gabby. Number 3, Abigail. Number 4, Lanny. And number 5, Brianna. All right. So that was the second theory. Now we're going to go to expectancy value theory. The motivational theory that incorporates expectancy for success and values. And we'll go over that a little bit more. I think you'll like this music too, Brianna. Hold on. All right. Oh, man. Okay, let me go back a little bit. Let's try it again. It wasn't a jamming music, but it's more like a movie theater music, which we miss. All right, expectancy value theory, expectancy for success. Students' beliefs about how well they will do on an upcoming task. So yeah, it's what they think about. If they know that they're gonna succeed, they're gonna succeed. Well, they have to study too. And then there's the value part. Students' enjoyment of the experience when performing a task, the importance of performing the task well, the usefulness of a task to achieve future goals, and the cause or what should be given up to perform the task well. In other words, what will it take to achieve something? And so there's short little examples.
So here we have some differing expectancy value situations. So on one side, we have what we would call a low expectancy value, and this is Jennifer Milton, who is at the beginning of a task and is fairly demotivated, and so has a low expectancy and does not really value the task at hand. Then we have Victoria Koncharik, who we would call having a high expectancy value, and again, beginning of a task, high expectations, seems really motivated, and really values the task ahead.
Okay, so that's pretty self-explanatory. Sometimes videos are better than reading the textbook, right? Okay. Now, a little bit more on that.
And explaining outcomes, really here, based on our original expectancy value models that we sort of showed, you have the low achievement. Now that's what we had predicted, and now we can explain. So in the case of Jennifer Milton, who was very undermotivated at the beginning and did not see any value in the task, well, she has now seen low achievement. And so that's sort of, this model is used to explain and predict that outcome. Whereas for Victoria, she had associated high value, was really excited, had a lot of belief in her own success, and so she is now seeing high achievement. So this is how the expectancy value model is used to predict and explain outcomes.
All right. Makes sense? Question? Yeah, you good? All right, so expectancy value theory. Expectancy for success. I can do this. We can do this. The mind is already telling the student, I could totally do this. I could totally pass the test. I could totally ace the test. So there's that factor.
Now towards applications in the classroom. So if a student has a negative perception of themselves, we can alter their personal perception to make them feel more empowered. As teachers, this becomes our role to try and have students have a better perception of themselves and a better perception of the possibility of their own success. So we've sort of found several ways that this can be done. So one is assigning tasks in their field of interest, creating an effective connection to the material. So here it's really important to find something that is of interest to students. That's really the only way that you will get students to engage in the material and believe in their own success. Another technique that can be used would be assigning a task which is challenging enough so they aren't bored, but not overly difficult so they don't give up. So here you're trying to get it fairly close to what they know so that there's a small knowledge gap, but not so much that it's completely overwhelming for them. Here the idea is that success will breed success. So you want them to experience success so that they can feel empowered and have a more positive perception of their own success possibilities. There's also verbal reinforcement, so way to go, good job, keep it up. Also, when a student asks a question at a right time, you can really encourage that moment as to try and repeat the behavior. And finally, we have providing just enough scaffolding. So here we don't want to provide too much so that they learn to lean on the teacher, and that won't really build up their own personal perception. What we're trying to do here is provide just enough so they know that the teacher is there for them, but at the same time, they're really working towards building up their own empowerment and their own belief in success. And again, attributing a higher value to what they're doing. And that will increase the expectancy value model for that student. As teachers, we can work on the attainment value and the importance component of the achievement value. So this can be done by clarifying the results of students' efforts, by emphasizing the reward and setting the incentive, so really explaining to students why this is being done. So here you're trying to have them believe that it's really important what they're doing, and that can be done by setting an incentive. It's also important to grade fairly, so students know the expectation of what they can expect with the work that they do, and it's important to equitably treat all students. So again, they can believe in their own success and there won't be any factors of favoritism or what have you.
All right, so this lecture tonight, it gives a lot of different examples on how you can apply this motivational theory. So hopefully I can see them in your mini paper, final paper, part 3.
I have
All
a
right.
question.
Yes.
So if we do use some of these for our paper, do we just cite the video?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can cite, like it says here, the name, and then you can put us cited in whatever my lecture motivation theory, as long as you cite it. Or you can look for this yourself in YouTube. It's a long video. I just put them in chunks, as long as you cite them. But good question.
Oh, my internet. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Does that help? Perfect. Yeah, there's a lot of good tips in here. Okay. So, expectancy value theory, the value. School is fun. I'm learning so much. Sometimes it's hard, but it's worth it. Staying in school so that I can have a better future. I'll give up Saturday nights with friends and I'll study because I have to pass my exams. So there's value and you're expecting and you're already planning it. You know, how are you going to achieve that? Now, achievement goal theory. Oh, I didn't put a time, whatever. I didn't put a mountain climb on that one, but here's a new theory again. And that's why I kind of put them in little different parts. Achievement goal theory, motivational theory that examines how students are oriented towards achievement, how they deal with failures, and the reasons they choose to engage in activities. So we'll learn more about that. So achievement goal theory, if you can remember, it's based on Carol Dweck's growth and fixed mindsets. So the growth mindset is failure is an opportunity to grow. So if you have that growth mindset, it's not gonna, you know, doing it kind of bad the first time, it's not gonna stop you because you know that if you keep trying, if you keep working at it, you'll succeed. The fixed mindset is failure is the limit of my ability. So it's like, oh, I didn't do so good, so forget it, you know. So that's the achievement goal theory. And to explain that a little more, okay. So I did the time to climb. I don't know why I put it in between there, but okay. Space. Space. All right.
Space.
Okay. All right. Oh, what? Halloween?
No, space.
All right, space. Oh, you guys. All right. Hopefully Lube makes it this time. All right, 7 players. We need 8. Lupe, going. Okay. So obviously Lupe's not here. So to be fair, you guys all get 20 points, right? Lupe's here. All right, Lupe made it. Oh, thank you. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I was gonna do a calculation thing, but yay, everybody's here. Let's get started. Competitive. All right. All right. That is awesome. All right. Now we're going to go to self-regulation theory. It's the process wherein students activate and sustain cognition behaviors and affects that are oriented towards goal attainment. Yep, mouthful. That's why I picked some videos that'll help you understand it more. Okay, so she has this long video, but I put it in different parts so that you understand.
But it turns out that great learners self-regulate their learning. What that means is that they use a process, a method that allows them to control their emotions, their thoughts, and their behaviors when they're engaging in learning. It's a cyclical process that has 3 sort of phases. The first phase is planning for learning. The second phase is monitoring learning. And the third phase is self-reflection. In the planning for learning phase, The learner considers, what's my goal? What do I need to be able to know or understand or do? And how am I going to get there? In the monitoring learning phase, they're actually engaging in the learning and they're tracking their progress. And finally, in the self-reflection phase, they evaluate, how well did my process help me get to my goal? And what changes do I need to make for next time?
Okay, so she talked about the different stages or parts of self-regulation. So she kind of just introduced that. So let's go over it a little bit more. 3 phases of self-regulation process. Forethought phase, and she calls it planning for learning stage. Second is performance phase or monitoring stage. And the third is, we got the name the same, self-reflection phase. Forethought phase or the planning for learning stage. Self-regulatory processes that happen before completing a task. So let's go see what she has to say about that. The forethought phase or planning for stage. First, you analyze the task, right? And there you go.
For the purposes of this talk, I'm going to focus on the planning for learning phase for 3 reasons. 1, expert learners spend significantly more time in this phase than other learners. 2, it's the phase we don't teach very well in schools. And 3, it's the phase that had the biggest impact on me as a learner. And my hope is that in recounting my experiences to you, you'll be able to take some tips away that you can apply in your own learning journeys. Self-regulated learners take time to plan how they're going to learn before they begin. The first thing they do is analyze the task. They ask themselves, what is the overall goal? What do I need to do here? What do I already know about this? What prior experiences can I draw from? What questions do I have? For my healthy living inquiry, as I came to call it, there were very few specific requirements. I had to create a product showing what I had learned, and I had to track the process I used to get there. For my organizational leadership course, it was more your typical university course. I created a table and I broke the syllabus apart, looking at the learning outcomes, the tasks, the due dates, the readings. And then I was able to use that table to track my learning as I went through the course.
Okay, so she explained the first part, planning. Okay, the second part of forethought phase or planning for learning stage is setting proximal or short-term learning goals. Let's see what she says.
The second thing self-regulated learners do is set proximal learning goals. And what that means is that instead of saying my goal is to graduate university, they say my goal is to be able to effectively explain how friction works to another person. Being able to explain how friction works is a small goal on the larger path to graduating university, but it feels more achievable. Graduating goal is a great goal, or graduating university is a great goal, don't mistake me, but it's not particularly motivating when you're facing 3 science labs, 2 papers, and a stack of reading before your next class. For my organizational leadership course, the goal setting was quite easy. I need to be able to define and explain each leadership theory and then connect it to my own experiences. For the healthy living inquiry, it was a tad more challenging. My initial thought was to set an outcome goal of losing 10 kilos. The problem was outcome goals, while they can be very motivating, like you're trying to get an A on your paper or losing 10 kilos, they're also very fragile because they don't give us room for error. I'm going to tell you a story. If this resonates with you, nod your head. Yes? You decided you're going to lose some weight, so you are going to not eat treats. Yeah? You've been going for 2 weeks, everything's going very well, you're proud of yourself, you come home from work one day or from school really tired, you open the fridge and nothing looks appetizing. And then you remember the package of cookies in the pantry. And in a moment of weakness, you eat 2 of them. And then you think to yourself, what the heck, I've blown it. I might as well eat the rest. and you consume the entire package. Yes, nodding? Yeah. It is very difficult for most people to go back on their diets once this happened because they feel they failed. And yet it's almost inevitable that it will happen. This what the hecking it is a common motivational issue. The researchers call it decision fatigue or willpower fatigue. If you think of your willpower as a jar of marbles, each time you have to make a decision in your day, from what shoes to wear to bigger work decisions, you have to hand over a marble. Sometimes we get home at the end of the day, we still have marbles in our jar. Then we can open the fridge and make a healthy choice and spend our marbles. But other days, our jar is empty before we even get home. And on those days, goodbye cookies. That's why setting a learning goal as opposed to an outcome goal is more effective. It allows us to make mistakes. We actually plan to make mistakes and explore how we can use those to help us learn. If you think about when you learned to ride a bicycle, no one expected you to get on and ride off the first time. We expected you to fall off. And each time you do, you learn a little bit more about your body and the bicycle and the dynamics between them until eventually you can ride off on it. So for my Healthy Living Inquiry, I decided that my goal would be to identify 10 things that trigger me to make poor choices, and then make a list of things I could do instead. This meant I was actively seeking opportunities when I would make mistakes and use them as ways for me to understand what was happening better and to learn from them. At the same time, though, it's really important that we set challenging goals. Achieving an easy goal does not make us feel good. It's not particularly satisfying. But achieving a challenging goal increases our self-efficacy, our belief in our ability to do it again the next time. And research shows that the more challenging the goal is, the stronger our positive emotions are. Self-regulated learners see mistakes as an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity for them to clarify a misunderstanding or to try a new learning strategy. They attribute their success to their efforts and their trials. We call this having a growth mindset. Learners with a fixed mindset, those who think their success is due more to IQ or to luck or to other factors external to themselves, tend to engage in less positive motivational behaviors, such as procrastination. When we fear failure, we procrastinate because it allows us to protect our feelings. We can blame our failure on a lack of time, thus making ourselves feel better about ourselves. This fear of mistake culture that we've developed is one of the biggest impediments we face as learners. And I beg and implore you to please see mistakes as nothing more than opportunities to learn better.
Pretty good? Pretty self-explanatory? Yes? Okay, so the next one, still part of the forethought phase, is select learning strategies. So this is when you strategize or make, just kind of plan it in your head, how am I going to do this? All right.
So I set some goals. I knew what my tasks were. The next step was to select some learning strategies. Learning strategies are ways to help me make sense of what I'm learning. For both my Healthy Living Inquiry and my Organizational Leadership course, I decided to create concept maps because they allowed me to connect the new theory to my own experiences. For my Healthy Living Inquiry, I also kept a reflective journal because I knew it would be important for me to capture what I was thinking and how I was feeling on those days when I made the especially good or the especially bad choices. Self-regulated learners develop a bank of learning strategies over time, and they get better at identifying which strategies will help them with which tasks. Because learning is subject-specific, which means we learn language by engaging in language, right? Listening, speaking, reading, writing. But we learn language differently from how we learn to navigate a city. So it's important that we practice our learning in the way we're going to use it, and research bears this up. The more practical it is, and the more we use it, the more we practice it, how we're going to use it, the better we are able to remember it. So for those of you heading into exams, If you have an essay style exam, the most effective way for you to practice is to write essay outlines. If you're doing a multiple choice exam, the most effective way to practice is to create multiple choice questions and practice your key definitions.
Any questions on that? All right. So, she included these 2 strategies in her planning stage, and I get that because it's a TED Talk. But in our textbook, the performance phase or monitoring stage have these 2 phases. Well, the forethought plus these 2 steps: task strategies, bleh, finding better ways to learn something or retain information, what works for you, and incentives, making a game out of something to learn something or retain information. You guys shared with me before how you study, how you remember things. A lot of you use a lot of highlighters and rewriting things and stuff. So basically it's this way too, making a game out of something and trying to figure out how are you going to do it. And incentives is also rewarding yourself. What's your reward? I know a lot of you are going to be graduating very soon. That's a big reward. But you also set different rewards for different things. Like, you know, if I'm good, I'm going to eat a chocolate cake, unless I'm on diet or something. But you kind of find yourself some rewards. And for those of you who had me before, I always say, like, as teachers, you have to sort of give yourself some rewards or give yourself some time to relax, you know, not you know, like far-fetched, like, oh, I'm going to Hawaii whenever I need to kind of relax. You know, just do little things for you, just for you. So yeah, make little incentives. So hopefully you guys have different incentives as you go through this whole COVID thing and still be in school. So there you go. Performance stage, you structure your environment and you incentivize. And she's going to talk more a little bit about it, but she put that in the planning stage just to kind of give you a little thing there. All right.
The last thing self-regulated learners do is structure their environment. They structure their space, their time, and their emotions to help them achieve their goals. In terms of space, they create a learning environment that is comfortable yet productive. And this is a good opportunity for you to have a conversation with your children about listening to music while they're studying. It's a good little research project to see whether it's actually effective or not. They also structure their time. They get to know which times of day are most productive for them, and they block those out for studying. They develop schedules that allow them to achieve their goals within the time they have, and they create tracking devices that they can use to monitor their learning as they go through it. They also engage in emotional structures, such as self-talk. These are things like, do 20 more minutes of reading and then you can take a break. In my house, my dad taught us the rule of the iron butt, which means sometimes you just need to sit there till it's done. They also give small rewards to themselves, like promising a night off to go to the movies, to keep themselves motivated.
All right, how do you guys keep yourself motivated? Anybody? All right. Okay, last part of that is the self-reflection. Pretty self-explanatory. Brianna Pinto says, coffee, exercise, music, friends. That's okay, we got it. So now this other part is self-regulation of self-reflection. And that's when you judge self-judgment. Students judge the feedback they receive or how well or poorly they did at something. Causal attribution, students attribute failure due to something, and they also attribute success due to something. So there's this self-satisfaction, unhappy reaction, and the happy reaction. And she'll tell you more about that. But hopefully, like for self-reflection and when teachers give you feedback, like I give you feedback in your mini projects, is that you apply those. So that's part of the self-reflections, like, okay, what did I do wrong before? And yeah, so you just started to reflect on things so that you can succeed. I love it. I read Lanny's interview and she said, gotta do those reps because that's a rep that the other person is gonna do if I don't do that rep. I thought that was good. So those are the 5 minutes that I didn't study that Eunice will study and she'll get a higher score in the test. So I kind of like that. All right. Okay.
So before you begin your next learning challenge, I suggest you take some time to plan how you're going to attack it. Yes, analyze the task. Set some small learning goals that will allow you to make mistakes, but will lead you to your larger goal. Think about how you can select learning strategies that will allow you to practice your learning in the way you're going to use it and structure your environment. Self-regulated learners think about their thinking and they learn about their learning. And it won't happen overnight. It takes time to develop. But it is the one way that all of us can become better learners. In terms of my healthy living inquiry, I learned a lot about myself. I learned about the emotional roots that cause me to make poor choices. I know that watching TV at night is like kryptonite. I eat, so I just don't do it. I can't ignore the treats in the pantry, so I only buy enough for one serving. I found exercise I love and buddies to go with. And on those days when I make really poor choices, I write in my reflective journal so that I can see where it went wrong and what I can learn from it. But most of all, I just feel more in control of my choices and less controlled by them. My hope is that in recounting my experiences to you, you've been able to take a few ideas that you can apply to your own lives, and hopefully inspired you to tackle a challenge that will help you move towards your best version of yourself. And in doing so, we will find solutions that benefit not only ourselves, but all of humanity. Thank you.
All right. So, what's next? We're almost done, guys. See, all this planning I did so that you are not here for 2 hours. Okay, so self-regulation. We haven't done Halloween, so it's only natural to do the Halloween. All right. Let's see. All right, Lupe is here. Gabby, Marty, Brianna, Eunice. What are we missing? Lanny's here. And Abigail. Okay, one more. Hey, who's not here yet? Oh, there's Beth.
I was trying to decide which one I wanted.
Oh, I didn't even know you could choose. All right. I thought you were just assigning something. All right. Let's get going here. lecture, you guys. It's a miracle. All right, reminders. Part 3 of the final project is due on Tuesday, November 3rd by midnight Pacific time. And next class, Wednesday, November 4th, Wednesday at 6:45. By the way, daylight savings time ends this Sunday, so turn your clock back. All right? Well, most of them are going to be automatic, like the phone. Are you okay, Brianna? Is somebody hitting you?
Yeah, giving it.
All right, so don't forget to take your clocks back an hour. And it's the end, guys. It's like so bonus. It's a lot of information, different motivational theories, but you guys did it. And you had different time to climb experiences. So congratulations on that. Good. Any questions? Text me, call me, email me. God bless you guys. And I hope you enjoyed my video.
I can't wait until we get to see the live performance.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Oh.
You have to motivate me to do that.
That would be a good break time video.
I have to come up with something because the girls at my church, they really love it. So I'm trying to come up with something maybe while you guys are on Thanksgiving break or something. But anyways, bye guys.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.